Okay, we're continuing with our circle unit, and today we are going to be talking about area and circumference. So we're going to draw a nice, good-sized circle. Not as good as I had drawn it before. Okay, and then we have our center. And the distance from the center to the outside of the circle is our radius. And then the distance from one end of the circle through the center to the other end is the diameter. And then the distance around the outside, or the perimeter, we call the circumference. We'll write down those definitions. So we started with radius, which we use the variable r to represent radius. It's the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. And then the diameter, we use d to represent that. And that is the distance from one point on the circle to another point that goes through the center. And the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. And then the circumference is the perimeter of the circle. And so the formula is circumference equals pi times the diameter. And then lastly, we have the area, which is the space inside the circle. And we find the area by multiplying pi times the radius squared. All right, let's do an example. Okay, so we were given the radius, right? The distance from the center to the edge of the circle. So we know that the radius equals 5. We know the radius, we can find the diameter because we're going to need the diameter for the circumference. And so the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So we multiply 2 times 5, which is 10. So now that we know the radius and diameter, we can find the circumference because that is pi times the diameter. And so our diameter is 10 times pi. And then we can take out our calculator. So just the one on your phone will work. And you can find the pi button right here if you have an iPhone. And so you would just hit 10 times pi, which is 3.14152.92653589793, which is why we want to use our phone. And so that equals 98.7. And then we can find the area. Now that we found the circumference, area equals pi times the radius squared. So the radius squared is 5 squared. And then we always put pi last. So that's 25 pi. And then we'll pull out our calculator again. And we'll take 25 and we'll multiply that by pi, which is 3.14. And we see that the area is 78.54. Okay, let's go ahead and look at your assignment. Right, so on the first page you are finding the area, and on the second page you are finding the circumference. So remember we said that area equals pi r squared. So r squared, that means it's a equals 7 squared times pi, so that's 49 pi. And then we take out our calculator. And we'll clear it and we'll multiply 49 times pi. Oops. 49 times pi, which is 153.9. Okay, and then let's look at the second page of your assignment, starting with number 11. And we're going to be finding the circumference, or the perimeter around the outside of the circle. So we said the circumference equals pi times the diameter. And so I always just like to write the number first and then pi. So our diameter, though, we don't know the diameter, right? We know that our radius equals 9. So we need to find the diameter equals 2 times the radius, according to our notes. So we have to multiply 2 times our radius, which is 9. So the diameter is 18 times pi. So we take 18 and we multiply that by pi. And our circumference is 56.55. So around 2 decimal places. Okay, so for all of these, go ahead and find the diameter. Then once you find the diameter, you can find the circumference.